Inside Gene Shepherd.
Let's get a good running start. What do you say? Get down there. Get ready to go. The starter's gun is going to go off any minute. And you better be ready to sprint, buddy. Let's see you go over them hurdles. Oh, yes. Do you ever imagine life itself as an incredibly difficult 60-yard hurdle race? And the gun goes... Everybody's running. Here comes the first hurdle. Whoop, over you. And about, out of the crowd of 17 trillion that are going over the first hurdle, maybe 2.5 million don't make it. And then you get to the second hurdle, and oh God, what a terrible picture. I'm sorry, gang. But let's get this week off to an upbeat start. What do you say, huh? I know it's not easy in this day of universal fetching, but let's get it off to an upbeat start. And this very serious radio station is now taking its public service debt that it owes to the great vast unwashed out there. It's taking it very seriously. We received a letter here from one of our spies. It says, Shepherd, says, if you notice how scarce laughter is getting. Well, I hadn't noticed that. In fact, I find myself laughing more every day when I pick up the paper and read the front pages. Now, that's just me. Maybe you cry a lot when you pick up, but I don't. As trouble piles up, Shepherd tends to get more and more amused by things. Now, that's not a healthy attitude. However, this radio station decided that what it had better do is bring more laughter to the walking around sufferer. So would you please turn on that's it. Please turn on the laughter machine in there. Just turn your radio up, friends. Just turn it up as loud as you can. And just point the radio out the window and let the neighborhood know that at least you, among all those people, you have retained your sense of humor. It's part of our public service program. Turn it up now. Okay, I'll be quiet. You just let it go. Come on, turn the gain up. Don't chicken out. Let them hear it. Hey, he's really getting there, isn't he? Of course, let's admit, it is there's a little bit of a hollow laughter quality to it, but after all, what can you expect in the 20th century? And how about a little cheering in there, please? Very good. Listen to that. That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. Oh, that makes me feel better. A little more cheering, Corny, when you get ready in there. Turn on the cheering machine there. Oh, God. Very good. Oh, all right. Thank you, Corny. That's nice. Oh yeah. Wouldn't it be great if you had a mechanical laugh track in your life? Like some of these TV shows, they can come on with half an hour, the worst, awful, unbelievably bad jokes for half an hour, and you hear nothing but maniacal laughter. And that would be kind of handy, wouldn't it? That's why TV shows have that, There's a dearth of good comedy writers, but there's no dearth of laugh tracks. So if you... How long have you been working around a major dearth in your life? That's a great word, dearth. You walk into the... Why don't you try that on one of your friends sometime? Just walk into this bar and you're sitting there with your buddies and all of a sudden, I sense a terrible dearth in this neighborhood. And they said, what do you mean, dearth? Well, just a dearth. It's a dearth. It's a good word, dearth. That's one of the ancient Celtic words, dearth. It was originally dirt, which was a D, D-U-R-D-E, dirt. We've anglicized it to be dearth, dearth. Nobody knows what it means even now, but they didn't know then, but they said it a lot. You know how these things, they like the appendix, they cling around, they can't get rid of them. And I'll just show you how good a laugh track works. Now watch. We're going to show you a little thing. Now, you get ready with the laugh track in there, and it just adds to things. Now watch this now. I'll give you an example now. Have you heard... No, I better not. Yeah, all right, let's try this. Have you heard the latest joke about the Franciscan monk who was running this bar on 3rd Avenue? He was a retired Franciscan monk, defrocked. Defrocked. They had removed his frock. And he's running this bar on 3rd Avenue. And in walks 2 Scotchmen. And one of them had this short, bow-legged dachshund with him. And at that point, the first Scotchman, the one on the left, the one wearing the green kilts, said, I think I'll have a glass of Irish, please. Well, do you know what the Franciscan monk said at that, I might add, ex-Franciscan monk, that's important, what he said at that point? Now, he didn't say it to the Scotsman, he said it to the dachshund. And then what the dachshund said back to him? That's the joke. I thought you'd like it. Thank you. I'm not going to tell you the joke because we just can't do that. There are certain laws in this country that are still in existence, albeit not often pursued to the nth degree. But if you'd like to know the 2 missing lines of that side-splitting, uproarious joke, send your name and address to Laughs, L-A-F-F-S, Laughs, in care of this station. You must be over 21 and a qualified student of humanity. So it'll be mailed to you, by the way, in a brown seal wrapper. There'll be a little postage needed on the top of it. But outside of that, we'd like to point out to you that there are other things in life, friends, than sitting around twiddling your thumbs. People said to me just recently, said, Shepard, why doesn't radio provide more of an escape for people? All day long, people are being interviewed. And what are those people saying that are being interviewed? Well, they're saying that life is tough, life is evil. Economists are being interviewed, and they're saying that we're heading for a depression. And then there's some guy being interviewed who says, our group is going to blow up the world unless we get what we want. Radio's going on and on and on and on with this stuff. Hour after hour, it's become a big business. 47 guys in every major city named Barry are interviewing guys who are threatening to blow up the rest of the world. You have come to the right point where that is not going to happen. We are going to provide you with a cheery sound. Please. Very good. Now, would you please give me that finale that we asked for? Now, I want you to hear the sound of people having an unbelievably fantastic time. Hear that? How often have you done that in your life? Listen to that. That was great, wasn't it? All right, now, all set now. See, things aren't too bad, but we are going to provide you tonight escape. I'll do everything I can to give you nothing but escape from reality. So you keep that tape set up in there. Wait, what's the matter here? Oh, I see the problem. Hold on a minute, Corny. Wait a minute. This thing is not working. I see. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, test. Hello, test. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, test. Hello, test. I see. We're having different... Hello, 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 hello. Wait, we're just testing the equipment here. Just a minute. Hello. We have this wind-up transmitter that runs down occasionally. There. It's back in business. Don't worry, Corny. It's not your problem. It's mine. Part of our new program here that we're instituting in America Media is True Escape. Now, I recently got a letter from a guy who said, and you know, this kind of letter runs through almost everybody who gets letters in this world. Things are not as good as they used to be. Do you remember back in the days when there were all those wonderful things for young people to do? Well, I don't know what many of those things were, because when I was a young people, seeing that we spent a lot of our times throwing rocks at each other, siphoning gas. In fact, I went on one binge for about 6 months there with my fellow young people, where we were stealing copper wire. For those of you who have not tried copper wire stealing as a nostalgic exercise, if you haven't stolen any copper wire recently, it's even more profitable than it used to be. You know that, don't you, Corny? You know what copper's going for. Well, we used to steal copper wire wherever we could. In fact, one night, me and Schwartz and a guy named Stanley Roper carried a 700-pound coil of copper wire, which we had picked up conveniently there at a construction site. We carried it for over 4 miles with 7 squad cars in hot pursuit. And this thing weighed at least 1.5 tons. Have you ever wondered why I never achieved my full growth? Well, it was because I was carrying around all that stuff that we used to steal around. I used to hide it under my jacket, and it kept me from growing to my full height. It was always very heavy. So I don't know what you did as a young people, but I did some things that now, and I look back on it, I wish I'd done more. I could have had a movie made about my own life, you know, called The Godfather, The Wasp Godfather. And, you know, the big excitement there. However, for those of you who do have the mythology going in your head that the kids of the past and gone days had better things to do than they do today, I would like to bring this bit of true escapism to you at this time. So turn up your radio, turn on your tape recorders. You're not going to hear this kind of stuff often. About 6 months ago, I was prowling. You know, people like to. That's one of the romantic things that people who buy books do. They prowl bookstores. They always use that phrase, prowling or browsing. It's always, you know, that getting out of the cold you're never doing. You're always prowling. You're browsing. Killing time you're never. You're prowling. So I was prowling in these used bookstores down on 4th Street, 4th Avenue really. Way downtown, see, I prowl in those places. Sometimes I hole up in a section of a bookstore like that for 3 or 4 months. Saves rent, too. You can just move in there. So I was prowling around one time, and this guy had a bushel basket of books. So I asked him how much the bushel basket was. He says, that'll be $0.25. So I said, does that include the basket, sir? He said, what do you think? So I said, yes, I think it does. That's the only thing that's worth $0.25 in that pile. He said, of course, stupid. So I gave him the $0.25, and I don't know what would have happened had I said, no, I don't think it would have. I probably would have had to carry him down home separately, see. So now what I do is buy these books because they make great logs for the fireplace. How many of you know what fireplace logs cost in New York today? You don't know? Well, you don't have a fireplace. Well, see, I have this hole in the wall of my apartment that somebody kicked through a hole in the wall in the next house, And I got some of these stick-on tiles, and I made this fake fireplace. And so now I set fires in the wall there. And the smoke blows through this guy's house. He doesn't know the difference anyway. He's always hiring a kite anyway. He just thinks there's, somebody's smoking down on the down on the ground floor and it's coming up. He breathes deep when I turn on the fire. So what I do is I use old books. They burn great. And, it's in the old world tradition of book burning. So I have this pile of books there, and they make great fireplace logs. Oh, yeah, down in the village today, one log, they call them a log. Actually, it's a large splinter. They're not really logs they sell now. But one major splinter, maybe 4 or 5 ounces, will run you maybe $3 or $4. Oh, yeah, just like that, see? Depends on what chic section of the village you're living in. You get into the very chic sections of the village, and you must order your fireplace splinters from Tiffany's, and they bring them in that nice little little truck that they deliver the silverware in. So I burn books, and they burn quite well. Now I rescued one the other day that you may find is really fascinating. It's really great. Look at this. It's called, all set now. I'm going to read you a section of a book that was written for young people, as they called them in those days. Youngsters, as they called them even then. Youngsters, the year was 1919. And you are going to hear a first chapter from a book called The Boy Chums. The Boy Chums. The Boy Chums in Mystery Land. The first chapter is entitled, A Mysterious Guest. Gentlemen, it gives me the greatest of pleasure to appear before you this beautiful, balmy evening. This is one of the proudest moments of my life as I stand here and look down upon this vast sea of handsome, intelligent, upturned faces. The speaker, a manly-looking young boy yet in his teens, paused and from his platform of an empty soapbox grinned down at his audience. His audience grinned black, for instead of a vast sea of upturned faces, there were only 3, an elderly, bronzed, whiskered face with twinkling, kindly blue eyes, and the tan, pleasant features of 2 youths about the speaker's own age. On my right, continued the speaker with an oratorical flourish of his hand, sits Captain Westfield, a distinguished, retired skipper who in his time has braved the gales and perils of every known sea. Next to him, I see the smiling face of Walter Hazard, once of New York, but now of Florida. I don't know anything he is famous for except his big appetite, dislike of work, and the fact that he is the 4th member of the band of Boy Chums, whose adventures have been told in several wonderful books, who have been sponge gatherers, pearl hunters, fishermen, wreckers, and a half a dozen other things, and who are now trying to decide what they are going to do next. That's right. Whoop, well, hold it there. We just broke the machine. That's our mystery machine, which occasionally does that to us. But are you enjoying this? Do you want to hear the kind of adventures that they read in 1919? You notice all the books of that period would plug the previous books in the series. And so here's what they are about to do. Chums, the young man said, dropping his bantering tone, he continued now earnestly, Chums, we've got to do something. And we've got to do it quickly. When we invested all our money in the Creighton fertilizer business, can you imagine? Kids investing their money in the Creighton fertilizer business? You see, literature was much more realistic in those days. I mean, Joel Siegel is still hung on Marvel Comics. Poor Joel Siegel. He looks like he's right out of them. But that's kind of sad. To see people that are hung on Marvel Comics. They're always going to be living in a dream world. But a kid that grew up reading a book where the heroes of the book, other kids, invested in the fertilizer business, there was a kid who was going to grow up with his feet right on the ground. Right, Corny? I mean, that's a wild idea. When we invested our money in the Creighton fertilizer business 2 years ago, we thought we were doing a wise thing. And as conditions were then, we were. Do you realize? Sounds like these kids ran into business problems. We have no reason to blame ourselves for what we did. The growers of Florida had to have fertilizer and crates for their oranges, pineapples, and their great winter truck gardens. There was a promising opening for such a business as ours right here on Indian River. We have sold a lot of stuff, all right, but as the planter can only pay when he gets the money for his crop, we have had to sell on credit. You all know what has happened. A great world war is raging in Europe, and hard times have fallen upon this country. The orange crop has not paid for the packing. The same is true of the pineapples, and the truck growers have not received enough money for their vegetables to pay expenses. The planter has no money now and cannot pay what he owes to us, no matter how much he wishes to do so. You all suspect that we are in a bad fix, but we don't know how bad. Well, we're broke, fellow chums. We have only $90 in cash. Whew, Walter exclaimed in his manly way. Are we as bad off as all that? Broke with only $90 in cash? Yes, his chum replied. Of course, most of our debts will be paid in time, for the planters are all honest men, but it may be years before many of them get the money to do it. The question is, what are the boy chums going to do for a living in the meantime? Oh, sorry. No. Cheers don't help. You mean my mystery sound is gone forever? Killed. Oh, well. Everything has to go in time. Now, that's a fantastic idea. Now, I'm reading to you the opening chapter of a boy's book that was written, obviously, during World War I. Now, that was a fantastically successful series, apparently. Oh, yes, absolutely, because I have read many references to that series in people who are book collectors, stuff like the Boy Chums. They always refer to that. The Boy Chums, written by a guy named Wilmer M. Ely. Well, they were big. This gives any of you budding writers out there a chance. Has it occurred to you that there's a whole new world of kid literature possible today that's based on the same concept? Howie looked down at his friends from their sumptuous clubhouse just off Sutton Place and said, "Kids, we're in trouble. Do you realize that the mutual funds that we've been investing in for the last 10 years have now sunk to new lows? Robert Vesco is living in Costa Rica. He left with all the dough, and we are now reduced to absolutely nothing. We are broke. What are we going to do for savings money and for scratch next season?" That would make a fantastic book. Oh, yeah, there's many a kid's deep into that. Deep into the investment game. And now he's facing, along with his old man, he's facing ruin and disaster at the age of 10. And so he would be interested in, a Dr. Seuss novel on how to get along. The Squinchums came and stole your mutual funds. The Squinchums that come in the night and eat your interest. But, and you could have another kind of an animal called a Squoogums. And they're green, they're dollar bill green. And they come and they defeat the Squinchums, which are vacuum colored. Or let's say, put it this way, inflation colored. What is inflation colored? Huh? What do you see? When you see the inflation, how do you see it? Do you see it as an animal down there? Or do you see it as a giant stamping machine that keeps raising prices continually like that, huh? You see it that way. Well, I thought we were going to bring you some escape tonight. Here we are, right back in the old bag. So, do you know that one of the great escape continents in the world is Asia? You understand that, don't you? And for good reason. They have discovered throughout the endless centuries, as they live in squalor, many, many millions of people die of hunger, and for centuries now, they have known nothing but what we would call total depression. Do you agree? In many areas of the Orient. So what have they invented? Transcendentalism. To transcend this, rise above your earthly defeats. And I suspect that within the next 5 years, if the Western world continues in its precipitous decline. And as misery grows, transcendentalism will grow. And so we're going to give you a little taste of that. Close your eyes for a moment, and there's hardly anything more subtly and more beautifully transcendental than, let us say, haiku poetry. And so as part of our vast public service, a little cheap Japanese koto music, please. This station is bringing you their first taste of transcendentalism. Just close your eyes. Picture blackness. Look at blackness. Examine it. Take a deep, slow breath. And allow your mind to move like a soft cloud through fields of waving peonies. We bring you a moment of transcendentalism. See these pictures, gleaming, sunken stones. With her shadow, the catfish turns them off and on. Down the coral slope, disappearing in the gloom, a pale yellow fish. Steadily it snows. Under the shadowy pines, where are the shadows? Snow-laden bushes, one bent to the ground and one swaying in the wind. The fat lady bends over the tomatoes. A full moon. Crows gather on a distant grove of bare cherry trees. Stalled car, foot tracks being filled with snow. Moon fades into dawn. An ivory moth settles within the lily. Can't you see these pictures floating in your mind? Deep within the stream, the huge fish lie motionless, facing the current. Empty room. One swinging coat hanger measures the silence. Waiting, dry snowflakes fall against the headlights. Someone's newspaper drifts with the snow at 4 a.m. You like these? Wispy autumn clouds, in the river shallows, the droppings of a deer. Lean-to of tin, a pintail on the river in the pelting rain. Down to dark leaf mold, the falling dog pedal carries its moonlight. Still sunlit, one tree, into the mountain shadow, it lets fall a leaf. The waves now fall short of the stranded jellyfish. In it shines the sky. You liked that, didn't you? That really caught you up, didn't it? You want to hear some more? Okay, come on, just leave that go, Corny. Pushing inside until her teeth shine. The first melt, her eyes gone under their lids, while we wait to do it again. The rains of spring. Moored to its pilings, the rusting ferry boat rides the morning tide. From this waterfall, another river rises, weaving off in mist. A Halloween mask, floating face up in the ditch, slowly shakes its head. In that lightning flash, through the night rain, I saw whatever it was. In that empty house, the broken windows rattling, a door slams and slams. Leaves moil in the yard, reveal an eyeless doll's head, slowly conceal it. Hair in my comb's teeth, the color of autumn wind. This whole day is gray. Crows gather on a distant grove. They rise like black leaves. You like this, eh? A robin listens, then flies off. Snow eddies. The stillness of dawn, crashing between the branches, a solitary leaf. An old spider web low above the forest floor, sagging, full of seeds. A bitter morning, sparrows sitting together without any necks. The fleeing sandpipers turn about suddenly and chase back the sea. Searching on the wind, the hawk's cry is the shape of its beak. That's nice. As the little white flashes, the water thrush falls. On the jewel weed, sparkling raindrops are falling from blossom to blossom. Misty rain falling on Lookout Mountain. The silent cannons. The killdeer, unmoved as the surf passes his feet. Morning in green shade. Only the green statues staring out to sea. Beyond stars, beyond star. An empty elevator opens, closes. You like that? The circus tent, all folded up. October mist. Billboards, wet in spring rain. Snow falling on the empty parking lot. Christmas Eve. Dark summer lake with but one rower. Unlit cabins. Two seconds to theme. 3 seconds. The horn blows. In the eggshell after the chick has hatched. So high in the sky, just a black speck fluttering, the lone autumn bird. Deep in rank grass through a bullet-riddled helmet, an unknown flower. November evening, the faintest tick of snow upon the corn stalks. The shadow of the trees almost reaches to my desk. It is winter. Winter. You like that, huh? The plucking of the soft, invisible koto strings of the trenchant heart. Oh, by the way, that was my own. Yes. The village voice flies ambivalently. In the sweet summer night, the protest rises. You like that, huh? You can do this. This stuff gets, it's worse than eating Planters peanuts. The more you eat, the more you keep eating. Next thing you know, you're a great big old fat peanut walking down the street with a hi-hat on your head and a monocle in one eye. That's what happens when you eat too many peanuts. Careful, my child, or you shall tune into a fig Newton. You mean to tell me your mother never said if you keep making faces like that, your face is going to freeze that way? You know, I have the feeling that a lot of people's did. How's that for a bit of rotten haiku? Man, that was a true public service. I really believe that. What do you believe?
By recording from New York, you've been listening to Inside Gene Shepherd. Listen again for Shepherd next Tuesday night beginning at 6:30.